Hey, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another video. In today's one, I want to talk about all of the smaller details and tidbits that we saw in the recent Missing Link teaser trailer. This teaser trailer has provided us a more updated look at the game, considering that it has been well over a year since the last official trailer released. There's quite a few different things to take away from this trailer, so I just want to talk about those in this video, as well as that give you guys a little bit of a refresher from official information and information we got from the prototype test at the start of this year, just going over how sort of the game works for those of you who might still be a little bit confused. And also, we have some brand new images that were shared after the release of the teaser trailer. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Now, I'm not going to do a traditional trailer analysis type of thing, as we usually do with like a lot of the different Kingdom Hearts trailers. I'm also just talk about the interesting bits. So the first thing that should be known is the person that is doing the commentary throughout this trailer, the male Japanese voice that we hear, is actually the character of Sigurd, the same person who was doing the running commentary of the very first Kingdom Hearts Missing Link trailer. This is an important note, mainly because we know that Sigurd is definitely going to play an important role when it comes to Missing Link. He was the character that first greeted Brain when Brain traveled forward into the future, into the era of Missing Link. He is obviously some kind of representative for those of the hierarchy of Scala and Kylam. Now when the trailer begins, Sigurd says, "On the night that you opened your eyes in this world, the stars, beautifully distorted, rained down from the pitch black sky." Interestingly, this is very similar to what he says in the very first Missing Link trailer, mentioning, "The night you awoke in this world, the stars shone contorted in the pitch black sky." I believe that these are two very important lines, and in fact aren't actually the same lines, but have been slightly changed for this recent teaser trailer. More so, two separate lines that refer to two separate characters. The line that we see in the most recent trailer, I believe, is referring to that of our player character, and this version here is referring to Brain, as Brain is in the shot. Keep in mind that both our player character and Brain are two individuals that are not actually from this era. They are people known as drifters, which is officially said in this trailer. Drifter obviously refers to a person that has arrived in a world from a completely different time or separate world. And interestingly, a drifter arrives in a world via that in the form of a star, as we've seen in previous Kingdom Hearts games and even during the CG cutscene of Missing Link at the end of the trailer. We can see a star shooting across the sky, which is obviously one of these characters arriving in Scala. I think it's also interesting that the people of Scala and Kylam actually do have a word, drifter, used for people that arrive from other worlds or perhaps other timelines. This could possibly imply that there are a number of drifters in Scala or in this world at this time, and not just Brain and the player character. Now, if we pay close attention to the slight differences in the wording of the two separate sentences here, possibly referring to Brain and the player character, it could actually give us some clues and hints towards maybe what their involvement in the story of Missing Link might be. For Brain's line, the differences here are the stars shone contorted, and for the player character, it's beautifully distorted and rained down, not shone. Distorted and contorted are both used here, though while they do mean essentially the same thing, contorted is a more violent way of saying distorted. Interesting. I have to say though that Brain's line appears more positive in nature, with the description saying the stars shone compared to the player's line here, the stars beautifully distorted rained down from the pitch black sky. So is it possible here that Brain's fate, or whatever he does in this era, there's a more positive outcome, and what we do as the player character, maybe a more negative outcome? Now, we don't know anything about our player character in Missing Link, the importance behind them, exactly where they've come from, as well as who they're connected to. It doesn't seem like they're connected to our player character, an ancestor of them from Union Cross. As we know in Union Cross, when our player character perishes, they go on to become reincarnated as Xehanort. That still blows my mind to this day. Seems like this is an entirely new player character, unrelated to our old player character, but they do seem like they come from the era of Daybreak Town, as this character is seen wielding a rusty starlight keyblade, and also their stained glass in the Station of Awakening is a stained glass of Cherothy Skuld, Ephemer, and the Foretellers with Daybreak Town in the background, insinuating that yes, there is some kind of heart connection here to these characters and that time era. What we do know though is they have traveled from somewhere. They are a drifter, so they do hold some kind of importance. One of the biggest revelations that was shown to us in this trailer though is most certainly the fact that our world, the world as we know it, planet Earth, is quite literally a part of the Kingdom Hearts canon. It is a world that literally exists in the story of the Kingdom Hearts universe. It is known as the Astral Plane, a dimension that is between unreality and reality, or in better words, as said in this trailer, existence and non-existence. The Astral Plane, our world, is where our player character Missing Link travels to with the help of us, the humans, via the mobile phone game app, to defeat Heartless, and in similar fashion to the idea of defeating Heartless in the era of Union Cross for the citizens of Daybreak Town, to collect Lux or Light. I'm only assuming for some kind of purpose. In the original trailer and in this most recent one, there is mention of distortion. Distortion, I'm assuming, is perhaps maybe a spawn point for Heartless to come through into the world of Scala and Kylam, and hence why maybe our player character needs to actually visit the Astral Plane in order to stop these distortions from happening. This is obviously going to be a crucial part, the idea of distortions, of the ongoing narrative of Missing Link. If we remember back to Union Cross, we had the Unions, these 5 different groups that were led by the Foretellers, and us as the player got to choose exactly what one we joined up with. I would say because there has been constant mention of societies that exist within this Scala and Kylam, we'll probably have some kind of choice as to exactly what society we want to join up with. Likely, there'll probably end up being 5, just like how there were 5 different unions. It seems like these societies are kind of within competition of one another. The little character statues that are characters of different Disney characters and different Kingdom Hearts characters from throughout the franchise are going to be used for us to pull off special attacks and abilities. Speaking of the whole society thing, apparently the societies try to stop one another from actually obtaining these different statue things. Apparently these are fragments of memories from other worlds and that they are precious to the societies. So there is definitely some kind of an importance behind the actual figurines in themselves. And just talking about the whole society thing, there's probably going to be a new group of foretellers for this era of Missing Link known as the Founders, the people that built this Scala at Kylam from the destruction of Daybreak Town. This will be the hierarchy of the city, and no doubt the different founders will be the representatives of each of the different societies throughout the city. We at least know that at this point, Ephemer is the original founder, and obviously there'll be some other characters that will make up the rest of this founder group. We also know that Sigurd, again an important character, is probably a part of this founder group, or at least represents all of the founders and has a non-biased stance. One of the final lines that is spoken by Sigurd here is, "The story begins, the story of the blank era, one that will eventually be forgotten." One of the slogans for Missing Link's story is an unwritten era, as well as just the title of this Kingdom Hearts game in itself, Missing Link. We know that there is, in the modern timeline of Kingdom Hearts, no trace or history of what happened in this era. Hence, of course, an unwritten era, and with the mention here, the era that will eventually be forgotten, something here happens in this narrative where this whole history gets erased, and this version of Scala and Kylam transforms into the version of Scala that we see in Dark Road and Kingdom Hearts 3. There's actually some evidence to prove that there's no history of this era within Scala and Kingdom Hearts 3, with this little contraption here that shows the inevitable doom that happened to Daybreak Town, breaking and then transforming into modern Scala, but there is no trace or depiction of showing this version of Scala. So again, this history is erased. Now, if we go back to that first sentence that was spoken by Sigurd at the beginning of this trailer, the one I believe is describing the player character, there's also another interesting line that is said throughout this trailer mentioning Climituous Star. Now, this person saying Climituous Star is not Sigurd, it's actually another character, but is it very possible that they are referring to, yet again, the player character? And that if my theory of how Sigurd is negatively describing the player character in that first sentence lines up with Climituous Star also being the player character, do we, as the player, do something absolutely catastrophic and disastrous to a point where it absolutely destroys this known era of Kingdom Hearts and this Scala that we see before us? I know it's absolutely pretty dark, but Tetsuya Nomura has given us a crazy twist with our player character from the era of Union Cross, revealing that, of course, that person eventually goes on to become Xehanort. So what if our player character in this era goes forward to destroy this version of Scala, and to a point where it erases all history? It also wouldn't be the first time that this world has been destroyed. Rather than just flat out destruction and things blowing up and the world resetting and starting over again though, the other side of the coin here is perhaps maybe us as the player character at the end of Missing Link's story actually transforms ancient Scala into modern Scala, the technique that we see Aqua using for the Land of Departure, where she transformed that world into Castle Oblivion, and along with doing this, it erased any history of that prior version. Now, switching over to the gameplay side of things, we did get to see quite a bit of gameplay throughout this trailer. I also think that there are still some people that are quite confused as to how this all works. So first things first, as it's clearly displayed at the beginning of the trailer, this is a GPS-based action RPG, meaning you'll go out into the real world in order to find Heartless, fight Heartless, you know, etc, etc. It's basically Kingdom Hearts Pokemon Go. I know that there are a lot of people that are turned off with this kind of thing. Personally myself, I don't really get involved in the whole augmented reality type GPS-based games like Pokemon Go, but because it's Kingdom Hearts, I'm gonna throw myself into the deep end. There are people worried that, okay, I'm not going to be able to get the most out of this game because I don't really necessarily want to leave my room and have to, you know, walk, do exercise, and hey, totally fair enough, fair call. There is going to be a system in Missing Link that will allow you to actually play the game without having to actually leave the house. There is a little bit of a catch-22 here with this, so AP is going to be basically the resource that you use so that you can actually take your character out into the world in order to engage in the gameplay, in the combat, fight Heartless, get the statue pieces. The thing is though, AP is accumulated via actually using the GPS side of the game, going out into the world physically, you'll accumulate AP. What I said in my original explanation video of Missing Link is that I really do hope that Square Enix actually make it so that maybe you get a daily dose or boost of AP each time you log in, or there's certain other things that you can do aside from actually physically going out to accumulate AP. One thing that was said in the prototype test at the beginning of the year is that AP was kind of strenuous to obtain. It was very hard to obtain, it was slow, so there needs to be a better system that actually gets players AP. This will be a major issue if players cannot quickly obtain AP, and that for 80% of the gameplay you actually physically need to leave your house. So I would say this is a system that Square Enix throughout this year have been really working on. We'll probably get a better idea as to how the AP side of things and the physical list side of the game will work once the closed beta test comes out. In the trailer, we can see that the player character is running over buildings, running through the GPS map. This player character is using the AP system and not actually physically out in the real world. So that's the gameplay that you're seeing right here. Just quickly talking about the map, I did mention this, but the map has received a massive overhaul. It looks so good. Obviously, all of the buildings that are physically located in your area where you are in the real world. I'm married here with that Gothic Victorian style, old era Scala type aesthetic, and it looks fantastic. They've really upped the visuals here for the GPS map. The AP mode allowing you to control your player character on the GPS map in that astral plane is known as pad mode, and you'll be able to control the character with like a little touchscreen joystick. The idea of the game is to scour out into the physical world, or of course on the GPS map in pad mode, come across Heartless, fight Heartless. These Heartless will then give you a hint as to exactly where the area boss is. This, for example, could be a Behemoth Heartless. You defeat the Behemoth Heartless, you get some cool rewards, and it unlocks a teleport point where your player character can now teleport instantly to using AP. In this trailer, it shows us a little moment saying, travel the world without stepping outside, and then shows us a scene of like the entire Earth globe. This kind of insinuates that we will be able to travel to different other countries without actually physically needing to, let's say, travel to Dubai or something like that. So that AP system, I would say, will be connected to being able to explore all regions of planet Earth as our character in that AP pad mode. Still, we don't know how exactly it works at this point, and we will get further information hopefully soon. And also, all of the different Disney characters that you see on the map, those will be Heartless that will have that exact figure piece. You defeat that Heartless, you'll likely get that figure that you can use in your arsenal or to use to further upgrade that corresponding piece. We got to see some more combat scenes in the trailer with the heads-up display attached to it, though I will say right now this is not the full complete heads-up display, so don't worry if it's looking a little bit too simplistic for your liking. I actually did do a mock-up of what the basically one-to-one heads-up display looks like from what we saw in the leaked footage of the prototype test at the start of this year, and this is what it kind of looks like. You will have your health bars and different status effects and stuff, as well as enemy health bars on screen. They pretty much only showed the jump button, the attack button, and the 4 different ability slots that you can activate. I don't know if there were originally 4 abilities, maybe they've upped that. Originally, from what I saw in that leaked footage, there were only 3, but it's likely there were only 3 for when you actually start the game. We can see that there is a little graphic over the ability slots right here that indicates exactly what element type those abilities correspond to, and sort of an idea as to what that ability does. Example here, we see a Woody attack where the player sends out a bunch of light orbs. That sort of corresponds to the graphic there. We also see a number over these abilities too, which obviously tells us the cost in which it will take to activate the abilities. MP in this game is stringed to abilities, so in order to use abilities, you must expend MP. We finally get to see the player character moving around ancient Scala. Yes, we are going to be able to explore many areas of this world. This is going to be the big hub world of Missing Link, and I am looking so forward to being able to explore more of Scala and Kylam, especially this version of it, because it is simply gorgeous. Here you'll be able to interact with different characters, as well as different shops and stuff to do. This is where you'll obviously be able to accept different quests. We actually did see quite a few different scenes of the player character exploring Scala, so it does look kind of quite expansive. Also, I did mention this, but it kind of seems like there's a day and night cycle. We see some daytime scenes and a nighttime scene, so that does make me think that there's an actual day and night cycle. This would be the very first for a Kingdom Hearts game, and it wouldn't surprise me if that actually corresponds to whether or not it's daytime or nighttime in your physical location. And also, I just want to quickly mention, in this nighttime scene, we see a Moogle off in the distance there. While it is kind of hard to tell, I'm pretty sure that's an organization Moogle. There are normal Moogles that we see at these stalls, but I'm pretty sure this one right here is an organization Moogle. It looks like this Moogle is wearing the coat. We've only ever seen an organization Moogle in 358 over 2 days, so it's crazy to see this bad boy back in action. maybe this specific Moogle is a special kind of vendor. Now, since the teaser trailer's release, Square Enix have been throwing up a lot of different promotional images, which are new images for Missing Link across social media, mainly on Instagram. So let's talk about some of these new images. This one right here actually shows us the equipment setup screen, which you previously haven't seen before. This displays your character information, like their power level, HP and MP level, what Keyblade you currently have equipped. Keyblades do have different element types from the seams here. This one looks like it is a fire type, as well as the level of the Keyblade. So yes, there will be Keyblade leveling. We can see that there are the ability slots down the bottom for the different character figures. You can have a total of what looks like to be 4. It looks like in order to get that 4th slot, I think it says that your Keyblade needs to be like level 15 or something. And there are also accessory slots here. I'm thinking will likely give you different passive bonuses or perks. If you don't know, there is full-blown customization in Missing Link. This is the customization screen. You can really go to town now and make your own 3D Kingdom Hearts character with all kinds of cool different accessories and clothing items. Yeah, no doubt Square Enix going to monetize the living nipples out of the system, but I'm definitely looking forward to this. Another image showing us a wide range of different character pieces. We've got Chip and Dale standing on some of the gummy blocks. That's super cool. We've got the Cheshire Cat, Chip and Mrs. Potts. We've got Pooh, Mike Wazowski, Bambi. It's really cool to see some of these older characters from the older Kingdom Hearts games recreated with the brand new Unreal Engine 4 type models. Seeing them in HD is really nice. It's funny looking at the character pieces for Missing Link because they look exactly like amiibos or something that you would use for like Disney Infinity, the little toys that you would collect. We have the player character standing out in the astral plane in some location in the real world, with what looks like a Heartless spawn right next to him with one of the Mickey pieces floating on top. So meaning that if you defeat this Heartless encounter, you'll receive a Mickey piece. While you're out in the real world as well, you can come across treasure chests. So all of the treasure hunting that you did throughout the numerous Kingdom Hearts games, you can now actually physically do that in real life. While you're walking down to the park, there might be a big boy treasure chest that you can open for some dank loot. This right here shows us the piece enhancement page, so along with your Keyblade, you'll also be able to upgrade the character pieces. Obviously, you'll need piece fragments, as we can see down the bottom here, and a certain amount of them in order to upgrade the character piece to the next level. On top of just leveling up the entire piece and increasing its stats, it seems like you can also increase and enhance the actual ability that is strung to the piece as well, which seems like it will be separate from the piece fragments required to just upgrading the base level. This image here shows us what we're believing to be a brand new world for Missing Link. In the trailer, we got to see this little jungly, foresty type environment that doesn't seem familiar. We were at first possibly thinking it could be just Kingdom of Corona, but after closer inspection of the trees and the foliage, the nature surrounding the character, it doesn't appear similar to what's seen in Kingdom of Corona, the Tangled world. There are theories floating around on the internet right now that this could potentially be a Lilo and Stitch world. The vegetation looks very tropical, so that would be cool. It would also be a long time coming. Or possibly, maybe Neverland, returning back there, or maybe even Moana. And you may also notice too that we are looking at a brand new Heartless, which is, yeah, a new core Heartless. So Kingdom Hearts 0.2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 had the introduction of the core Pure Blood Heartlesses. There was the Flame Core, Water Core, and Earth Core. They are absolutely some of the most annoying Heartlesses throughout the entire franchise, and this is a brand new one. So possibly it could be a Blizzard Core, an Aero Core, a Thunder Core, who really knows. This one is swaggy though, because it's wearing a hat. The absolute swagger of this man is immense. So those are all of the more interesting images that were recently shown off. Now, before we end this video, I just want to go over some new information that was shared to us, mainly to do with the closed beta test, but I think the most important news slice here is, can we play this game with a controller? I know a lot of people hate touch controls, myself included, and to be able to play a mobile phone Kingdom Hearts game with a controller is going to be bliss. And the answer to that is Yes, we can. We can use a PS4, PS5, or Xbox wireless controller in order to play this game like we would a traditional Kingdom Hearts game. That is fantastic news. This wasn't something that was present in the prototype test at the beginning of the year, so some people were a little bit worried, but when that closed beta test comes out and the full version comes out, you will be able to use a controller, rest assured. Will people be able to play the multiplayer component side and raid boss side of things in the Missing Link closed beta test? Yes, you absolutely will be. As long as you're in close proximity of each other, you'll be able to engage in the raid bosses. Also, playing with other players also does reduce AP consumption for teleportation, and it also lists and more, so perhaps maybe some party perks or passive bonuses along with playing with other players as well. So very cool to know. Will you be able to transfer your data of the closed beta test into the official full game? No, unfortunately, you will not be able to. Now, the big question here is exactly when does the closed beta test go live? For that of course, Japan, UK, and Australia. The iOS closed beta begins on the 29th of November and ends on the 8th of December. The other thing I know people are really eager to know is, will people be able to share images and videos of gameplay of the closed beta? It does mention that you are able to post videos, stream, as well as post images for personal use only. The wording here is a little bit strange, but I gather from what's being said, it does seem as if you can actually post stuff. So that is great. That does mean that for like the majority of us who don't get into the closed beta, during this closed beta period, we will be able to see a lot of new stuff. Actual footage, actual gameplay, and an actual understanding as to how a lot of these systems in the game properly work. But with all that being said, guys, that is basically everything you need to know about Missing Link as of right now, as of this point in time. As I just said, more information will come out when the closed beta test begins and shortly afterwards. The more that comes out about this game, honestly, the more I get excited, but I'd love to know what you guys think. Are you on board with Missing Link currently, or are you still a little bit turned off? I would absolutely love to know. However, guys, I'm Cynical. Hopefully you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.